Well, I'm out doing some scouting today. I'll get to all that in a little bit, but I just pulled up because I seen some deer down over this hill. I looked out over this wheat field, and we have a really, I think, a really big buck alert. He's on the other, kind of, on the gravel road on the other side, so I'm going to go down and see if I can get a better look at him. I can only see him through my binoculars, but I can see a bunch of stuff, a bunch of antlers on top of his head, so we're going to get closer to him, see if we can't see what he is. Alright, well, I ended up going down the end of this road, and him and another buck were walking in that wheat field. When I first seen him, when I pulled up here, they were probably only 100 yards from the border of this piece of public, and they were kind of diagonal, so I think they came up just off the corner of this piece of public where it meets the public and private line is. So this is a property that I came down and scouted like the very first time I was down here a couple videos ago, and it has that cornfield in it, and then that shelter belt that runs along the public-private boundary, where I talked about just putting a trail camera, sitting along kind of the habitat transition there, tucking up into that fence row, and waiting for him to get up out of the cedars, and either go to the cornfield or go to the wheat up top. So that's this property that I'm on, and they came right up out of those the cedar row or that bedding that's further down in there. So I don't have a trail camera to put on this property today because I was headed to put a trail camera on a piece of public that's just down this way a little bit further, but probably tomorrow I'm going to come back, put that trail camera up, and then leave it sit because we know there's a big buck, definitely a big buck, in the area. So didn't really tell for sure what he is. I'll have to look at the video footage and see for sure through binoculars. He was still half a mile away. He was 3/4 of a mile when I seen him here, but when I got video footage of him, he's a long ways away, so that footage is zoomed in pretty far. So we'll see what we can tell from the footage, but he's definitely big body-wise compared to that other buck, smaller buck he was running with. He just looked like a giant. So we're finally starting to get on the bucks, getting a little bit of a pattern on him. Getting these trail cameras out is going to help us get a pattern on him. So, I mean, these new smaller properties, now we know there's bucks on them or close, so we're going to have some hunting spots to go after come fall. So now there's another piece of public, just probably a mile or so from this one. Gonna go hang a trail camera there. It's one I scouted before, but the wind was so bad when I filmed it that none of the footage turned out. So when I get down there, I'll kind of explain what I found the first time and why I'm putting the trail camera there. So we'll head to that one, and like I said before, hopefully find some more big bucks down there. How this sets up is that there's some kind of sand hills, really short grass in this pasture, and then there's an area down here in the bottom that's got corn planted in it, and then that corn surrounds this kind of island of cottonwood trees that's got some grass in it. It's going to be really good bedding. So there's also corn in a nice draw on the neighboring property that leads across this minimum maintenance road that leads right into these cottonwood trees. So what we have is pretty much an island kind of bedding area surrounded by food, corn, and cover. So should be a good spot. I think the deer are going to be moving through. That's why I'm coming down to hang this trail camera. There's just a lot of edge habitat that comes together with the corn, the cottonwoods, the grass that draw from the other side of the road crossing this, like I said, this minimum maintenance road that I don't think has been used in probably 2 years. So there's a lot of good like habitat edges and transitions that come together in this spot. So that makes it a really good spot for the bucks to be using. So we'll head down now, see if we can't find some beds, spot to put this trail camera. Well guys, it is a day of seeing some really nice whitetail bucks. So I came in backside of this hill, walked down, came down the other side of this edge down here, and just got within 30 yards of a nice whitetail buck. Really nice. He took off back this way, went up over the road, and back up the hill back there. I got some footage of him. Not sure how clear or good the footage is going to be. The sun was shining on my camera lens, so it's hard to see if I had him in focus, but I think we got enough that you can kind of at least tell how big he is. He was at least a 5x5. Really nice buck, big bodied deer. So, man, we're finding the whitetails, that's for sure. So now I'm going to go find his bed somewhere right up in here. I think it was maybe the beds I found when I was down here before, which if it is, that's pretty sweet. So I think the bed was right up here. So we're gonna go look at it, see what we can find. All right, so found it right down in here. this is kind of interesting too, because he was bedded facing this way. So he could see me walk across there, and he could see me coming down this edge really, really close until I got about, 30, 40 yards from him. So that's interesting that he stayed put for so long. But bedded right here, and you can tell by the way the bed is that he's not facing that way looking through the trees. So he's obviously bedded facing out this way. He took off through here, just went through the gap and went up over the hill there. So now we got to figure out where the best spot to put the trail camera is that will catch him coming in and out and catch other deer coming in and out. So the other thing we're going to do is find a game plan as far as which tree we want to get in to hunt him if he's coming back to this spot. I think this is the tree where I found the beds when I was here before. So that's kind of cool that we found their beds earlier, and now there was a nice buck in there. So this spot's only going to get better with this edge as this grass gets taller. He's already bedded here. This corn gets taller. He's going to feel more and more secure. So it's going to be a really good spot. And now we know there's a nice buck in here, so we'll be back. Probably put the trail camera up and not check it, obviously, now until we come in and hunt. So going to be another interesting spot. I think I found my trail camera tree here. Gonna put it right on this tree facing out this way. There's corn right along this edge right here, but then there's also a really nice gap out in front here that I think the deer are gonna walk through if they're on this end. It's also looking kind of right towards where he was bedded, so should be able to get him or another buck or any other deer that's walking through this eastern end kind of these cottonwood trees. Should be able to get them on this camera, so I'm gonna point it that way and hopefully get some deer. But I think that's the plan. Put it there, should cover this edge, cover this gap, cover this end of the cottonwood trees really well. So we go ahead and put that trail camera up. Alright, got the camera up. Pretty decent spot I think for it. So now we're going to try and find that tree stand tree that's going to work for us. So we will see if we can't find us a tree here. Well, I think I found my tree stand tree. Pretty small cottonwood, but it'll work. Should have plenty of cover up in there. So should hide me decent enough. If we look back through there, that's where the buck was bedded. That corn edge right here, but then also over here is the other edge. So I should be able to have a shot that way as well as this way. And I think if they're coming from this way, they're just going to walk through this opening, which would be a perfect shot. So I think I'm going to put it here. So we'll have to figure out wind directions, which way we think he's coming from, all that good stuff, how we want to hunt it. But kind of when you're hunting this, there's always going to be a bad wind direction because you never know for sure which way they're coming from. If he's coming from that way, then we need a wind direction obviously blowing this way. But he could also be coming from that way, and then you don't want a wind direction blowing this way. And if he walks over there, or he could walk over here, so there's always going to be a bad wind direction in a spot like this. So we're going to have to kind of play the wind a little bit and maybe get a little bit lucky. But try to figure out which direction we want to hunt him, which wind direction we want to hunt him on. But a nice tree, like I said, kind of here in the middle of this cottonwood island, allows me to shoot both sides, both habitat transitions, as well as this gap in front. So I think that's why I'm going to put my tree stand in that tree right there. I may go over here, see if I can find a tree on the other side, just in case we need a different wind direction. I have 2 different spots I can go to. Headed out now. I'm going to have more of these scouting videos coming at you. I'm excited to go look at the footage, go see how big these deer are, not through my camera lens. So head back now, look at that footage. Like I said, more scouting videos, so keep tuning back in, guys. Thanks for watching.